Alright, hey y'all. It's been a minute. I'm working on my consistency. I know that's a problem. I was trying to do this every day, and just because of my workload with my job and life and whatever, I just don't, and I just can't find the time, or I've been lazy, or I could find a million excuses. I just don't. So I'm working on my consistency. I'm gonna aim for at least every Tuesday to release a video. Hopefully it can be more than once a week, but I'm just going to see. I can't make any promises, and I don't want to put too much pressure on myself either, because that takes the fun out of it, right? So, but anyway, happy Tuesday. Good evening or good morning or whenever you're actually watching this. A topic of today keeps going back to the whole anxiety and the fighting the devil that we've been talking about in the last couple of episodes, I guess, like last couple of videos. But has anyone else, in the stay-at-home order that we're under, in the quarantine or whatever you want to call it, anybody else lost your groove, completely lost it? Like the loss of routine has made me lose all sorts of motivation for everything, and I find myself, getting up later and later every day. I find myself taking longer and longer walks every day just to avoid being on my laptop for work, or making videos for this. And I've just kind of like completely lost all sense of normalcy. And I'm sure I can't possibly be the only one, or if I am, then I'm going to feel stupid. But, the new normal that everybody's talking about, and everybody thinks that is going to happen after all of everything reopens and we all go back to work, if and when, whenever that is. And people are talking about this new normal, and I'm wondering if anybody else has a little bit of a sense of I guess, dread toward that. You watch the news and numbers are either remaining the same or rising, and as the number of cases, and in a few states we've actually decreased. But it goes up and down. It fluctuates. So when you talk about, reopening the country and going back to business, and even if it is at a 25% capacity, or, whatever stipulations they have, it still kind of creates this sense of fear in people, like, is that really going to be normal? And is it going to be this new normal that everybody's talking about? And I think a lot of people, and it's going to go back to the whole perspective thing, that new normal, it can either be exciting or it can be kind of scary, and change is scary for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't handle it well. So it's kind of what this is about. I've written a few notes. If you keep seeing me look down, I've got a notebook in front of me. But the sense of new normal, when you can go back to the store, but there's only a certain number of people allowed in the store at one time, or you can go to a restaurant but only 25% capacity, or you can go to work, depending on what industry you're in, maybe you are supposed to stay home even longer than some. Like, I know myself, I think we're probably staying home for at least another few weeks is what they said. Probably more than that. I see it happening for the foreseeable future, and if that is my new normal, then I have to embrace that, and I have to accept that. And it's a big change, and in that change, am I the only person that kind of feels like maybe something's been stolen from me? I went to work, and I would build these relationships with my coworkers, and I would, I could go out to lunch with them and build these friendships. And now when you're working from home and you're isolated and you're not able to do that, and it kind of feels like maybe that's been taken from us, right? Or maybe you're one of the people that have unfortunately been furloughed or laid off and have lost your job, and maybe you're feeling like that's been stolen from you. And you just kind of want your life back, right? You just kind of want your life how you had it. You were comfortable, you were good, and now that's gone, and you're just feeling kind of betrayed by either, life itself or God, if you're blaming him, or whatever. And I need, God put it on my heart to tell you that that's not him. That's actually the devil And we need to recognize him. Like I said in my last video, you need to recognize the devil when he shows up. And that feeling of dread, or that feeling of something being taken from you, that's straight up, that's the devil. The devil only comes to do three things: he kills, he steals, and he destroys. And he came to kill with this coronavirus. He's unfortunately taken some people's lives because of it. They've lost the battle with it. He's stolen our joy, he's stolen our freedom, he's stolen our sense of normalcy, he's stolen our comfort, maybe. And he's destroyed all of our routines. He's destroyed the economy, he's destroyed our routines, maybe our sources of income, and maybe he's even destroyed your dream. Maybe you were dreaming about starting a small business, and then this happened, and it just kind of fell through, and the economy tanked, and you weren't able to do it. Maybe that's where you're at. And again, you guys, you have to realize that that's the devil, and if you don't recognize him for what he is, it's so easy to give up, and it's so easy to get feel defeated, and it's so easy to how do I want to say this? It's so easy to, I guess, allow depression and anxiety to sit on your shoulders. But if you recognize that it's actually the devil, and if you recognize that it's a spirit or a power that can be fought and that you can win over, then your perspective changes, and it feels a little bit better. And then maybe you don't know the steps to take, but you know that it is possible to win. And that gives you hope, and hope in this situation, and hope in this, these current times. That's everything. That's all we can hold on to is hope. And so how do we not let the devil win? How do we fight him? How do we get our groove back, right? How do we get, even if it's not the routine that we used to have, how do we get back into it? How do we get our flow back? And what you do is you get up every morning, you shower like you normally would when you go to work, you get dressed like you were going to go to work, you do your normal thing, you eat your breakfast, you drink your coffee, whatever, and then you show up. And part of the battle, the biggest part of the battle, is showing up. And it's just, whether it's showing up to your actual office, or if it's your, a 2x4 laid across some bricks to make a makeshift desk at your house, or whatever, you still have to show up. And if your job, has let you go, and you have been furloughed, then you still need to show up. You show up for your kids, you show up for your family, you show up for your dogs, whatever. You still show up every day, and you make the best of it, and you be as productive as possible. And then we just keep going, and we create a new normal that we want, and it's been on my heart so strong lately that God has pressed the reset button on the entire world. And, he's not the one that created the coronavirus, and he's not the one that has created all of the chaos and he didn't tank the economy, but he certainly has spun it into a different possibility or an opportunity for us. And if we can just look at that opportunity, again, perspective, if we can look at the opportunity that God has presented us with, he's pressed the reset button on the entire world, on the economy, starting from zero, on our work lives, starting from ground up, on our personal lives. We have been stuck in the house with the same people for at least a month, if not more now. And I'm sure some of those relationships have either struggled or they've become stronger. And I know if you're like me, you might be sick of seeing the same people every day. God love them. I love them. But sometimes you just need a break, And I'm getting sidetracked. But those relationships, they've either, when you're in the same house, in the same four walls with somebody else for weeks on end, it's make or break time. It's sink or swim time. And fortunately, my family, we're swimming, and we're fine, and we're doing okay. We have our days where we get on each other's nerves, but that's every family, right? But maybe you're not there. Maybe you're in an abusive relationship and you're stuck in the house with your abuser. Or maybe it's not even as severe as that. Maybe you're just really, really tired of your spouse and you just need a break and you just wish he would go back to work. I get it. I get it. But again, God has given us an opportunity and given us nothing but time to work on those relationships. And I think really this time of isolation has, if nothing else, has not only given you the time to work on it, but it's also that's not even a word, has brought some issues into the light that maybe you didn't even realize were there before. My goodness, I can't speak. And maybe now's the time, God's giving you an opportunity to say, look, you need to fix these issues before we can even go on, before you can create that new normal. Maybe you need to really sit down and talk and fix some issues that are there that have now come to light because of this quarantine. But again, I'm rambling and I'm kind of sidetracked, but because God has hit this reset button, I'm originally from New York, and we have a saying up there, it's not reset, it's a do-over, and if you're a kid and you're playing a game, can I get a do-over? Can I get a do-over? I didn't do that right this first time, whether it's a video game or a game of soccer and you miss the goal or whatever, you want a do-over. And that's a popular saying in New York, or at least it used to be. I don't really hear it much in Texas, but in New York it's a do-over. I need a do-over, and God has given us the ultimate do-over, and if you have been furloughed and you have lost your job, then here's your do-over, go and get the skills that use the skills that you have, and then use this time to study and get new skills, and go out and get the job that you actually want. If you have not been furloughed and you have not lost your job, maybe now's the time, if you have a little bit of extra time on your job, maybe now's the time to study up on the skills that you need to perform your job even better. Maybe you've realized that this just isn't the job you actually want, and you've pushed your dream down so far and for so long that you maybe have almost forgotten about it. And maybe now's the time that God's saying, hey, look, you've got nothing but time. Let's work on that. That's kind of what I'm doing. I've luckily I'm blessed to stay busy with work, but at the same time, I do have some extra time on my hands that I've taken the opportunity to work farther on this, keep going, the movement thing. And so far, I've gotten pretty good feedback on it. And I think if I hadn't had this month or so at home, I probably wouldn't have taken as many steps on it as I have. I certainly probably wouldn't be making videos. I wouldn't have had the time to do that, because the time that I'm making the videos is the time that I'm actually driving home. So I've certainly saved a lot of time that way, and I've tried to make the best of that time instead of just wasting it. So maybe that's part of my do-over. I'm trying to get my fire back and get my dream back in front of me instead of off to the side where I had pushed it because of work was taking the main focus. So what are you going to do? Well, you've got this do-over. You've got this reset button that's been pushed. So what are you going to do with it? This is your opportunity. So you're going to stay in fear? Are you going to stay in doubt? Are you going to stay buried under that anxiety? Or are you going to try to recognize who's putting all of that on your shoulders? And are you going to try to fight? Are you going to try to make up your mind right now? Make it up right now to change your way of thinking, to change your perspective on things, and look at it as an opportunity instead of being stuck. Don't look at it as detrimental. Look at it as beneficial. So stand up to the devil is what I'm trying to tell you. Is you stand up and you tell him, and if you have to say it physically, if you have to look in the mirror, if you have to look at a wall or whatever, look at a picture or whatever, do it. If you've actually got to stand up and scream it out loud, then do it. If you want to just do it in your head, then do it. I really seriously, it sounds kind of silly, but I really encourage you guys to do this. Stand up and tell him that you know who he is and he's nothing. Stand up. He's a nobody. Tell him that He can try all he wants, but we already know that God's already won the battle. God's already won the war. So he can, he can launch all these little battles that he wants to, but he's just stupid. Go ahead and tell him that, and tell him that he needs to go ahead and get behind you, because you've got stuff to do. You've got dreams that you're going to follow through. You've got goals. You've got steps that you're going to take, and tell him that. Second Timothy, I'm trying to remember. 2 Timothy, I didn't write down the verse. I wrote down the actual words, but I didn't write down where it is. 2 Timothy 1:7, I believe it is where God says, God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. And that one word really, really stuck out to me today when I read it, and that's power. God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. Now, the sound mind is no anxiety, no fear, no doubt. Love, obviously, is we need to love each other as we do ourselves, if not more. But power. We have a spirit of power. It's inherently in us. And a lot of us aren't using it, So I'm just going to encourage everybody right now to take back your power. Take back what is rightfully yours. And we have inadvertently given it away to other people, to either our boss or to a friend or to a spouse or to a family member, and we've given that power away, and we don't need to. That is ours, and that is something that only we can do, and only we can own, and we need to take it back. So how do you do that? How do you take back your power? Honestly, 3 things. 1, get in the Word, read your Bible. Like I've said before, there's a free Bible app if you don't have one. If you can't get to the store right now, look in your app store. It's called Bible. Download it. It's free. It's got everything. It's got different versions. It's searchable. It's an awesome app. Really, it is. I use that probably more than my actual Bible. And then second, get in a group of, and I normally say of like-minded individuals. I'm going to say of power-minded individuals. Get in a group that agree with you that God has given us that spirit of power. Get in a group of people that will encourage you to take back your power, to follow your dream, and to keep going. And if this group isn't working for you, by all means, I'm not asking you to stay with this one if it's not working for you. But find a group of people that will encourage you and will not bring you down and will not stop you from doing what is your God-given purpose. And 3, I'm going to encourage you to get into a church where you feel comfortable, and right now is such an easy time to join a church. Everything's online. You don't even have to get dressed. You don't even have to get out of bed. You can watch it on your phone while you're laying in bed in the morning on Sundays. I share my church's online service every Sunday here. I try to share 2 or 3 of the services. It's every 2 hours starting at 7 a.m. So 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., all the way up until 9 p.m. So I look for that. I share it live. I try to do a watch party, and then I'll share one as well, so you can go back and watch it. But if that church isn't working, it's called Hope City. If Hope City doesn't work for you, then find something that does. And that's just to feed your soul, basically, is you're watching something positive. The world is full of negativity right now. Every time you turn on the TV, there's bad news, and honestly, I that's why I don't turn on the TV. I very rarely watch it. Hard to avoid it if the TV is on for one of my roommates, but I overhear it. But I very, very rarely actively watch the news, just because it is so negative and filled with bad news, and it's hard to keep my mental health up when all I'm feeding myself is bad news, right? So when you watch church online, especially, or if if they open back up and you can go, I really do encourage you to go. It's just such a feeling of renewal. It's so refreshing to hear positivity and people that actually not only are going through the same struggles, but there's such a feeling of camaraderie and a feeling of, I guess, membership or teamwork, or I don't know the word, but it's just a positive atmosphere, and it's so good to be in that. So I'm going to encourage you. So 3 things: get in the Word, read your Bible. 2, get in a group of power-minded individuals. And 3, get into a church. Soak up all of the good news that you can, because you're surrounded by bad news all day long. So soak up, actively pursue good news is what I'm going to say. Actively pursue good news. And get fired back up, man. Get fired up about your dream. Find your fire again. One good piece of advice that I was told was, remember your why. Why did I start this movement in the first place? Why did I want to start this? It's so easy to get discouraged when, not very many people watch the video, or not very many people, I don't see a lot of likes or shares or hearts or whatever. It's so easy to get discouraged. And somebody had told me, remember your why. And when I first started this, I was convinced if I could just get one person to watch and one person to change their mind. It started as a suicide awareness, suicide prevention, and it still is, but it's taken a little bit of a turn, but it still ultimately is for mental health. And it started as if I could just change one person's mind and get them to keep going and to not give up and to not take their own life, then my mission here is complete. And all of a sudden it's turned into, how many likes can I get? How many shares can I get? And that's just silly, that's just ridiculous on my part. So I had to remember my why, and that fired me back up. So I'm going to encourage you to remember your why. Why did you want to start that business in the first place? Why did you want to start that next job in the first place? Why did you want to, whatever your dream is, why did you want to do it in the first place? If you've gotten discouraged or you've gotten, distracted or whatever, just remember why you wanted to do it in the first place and get fired back up about it, man. Just follow through. Now is the chance. You have nothing but time on your hands right now, most of us. And I'm just going to encourage you. So if there's anything that me, myself, or anybody in the group that Keep Going can help with, put it out there. Put it in the comments. Let us know what you're actually trying to do. And you never know who is watching, and you never know who's going to read that comment that may actually have the steps that you need to take and may become a resource for you. So share your dream. Share your dream and let us know. Anyway, that's all I've got. This video's kind of ran a little bit longer than I wanted it to. I'm really trying to keep it to 15 minutes, but man, I guess I talk a lot. But anyway, again, keep going, and we will see you next time. I'm like I said, I'm going to try for every Tuesday. I'm really going to try for more than once a week, but at least at a minimum every Tuesday. So keep going, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.